Yes. So again, I might be repeating myself a bit with everything, and I might sound a bit like a nihilist, but it's everything, right? Okay, so we have this extreme step change in technology, and suddenly we care whether the billionaires are getting richer and the economic inequality is growing. Well, you know, we should care anyway, and we should care even more. I guess my argument would be that politics are even more important. I think a lot of people are interested in how they can make money quickly from this technology change, but if you don't care about politics, if you don't care about policies, if you don't care about participating in your political life, then yes, they will get richer. And the startups or the companies will get like quick wins, will get the satisfaction that they did something with LLMs. So I think it's a great question, and the answer is what it's always been, that we just need to be aware of the problems and participate. If not, then economic inequality will just grow, and the rich will get richer and the poor will get poorer.
So to be able to flip on that, absolutely, I think there is a risk if you don't capitalise on it at the moment, but I think a lot of people are seeing that. If you go to, my favourite website at the moment is, there is an AIforthat.com. If you go on there, you'll see there's 5,600 individual applications that have been created by developers around the world that are using AI in some sort of different fashion. Inside there, there's 1,600 different categories for how the AI is being used, be that image generation, be it spreadsheets, be it website creation, all that stuff you can do now in a click of a button. Like a website that you would have previously paid someone maybe £1,000 to build, it would have taken you a week, you can do it yourself in a couple of seconds. So it's an exciting moment for startups, for inventors, for entrepreneurs who want to build something but maybe don't know how, because someone's probably built that tool for you, and it'll be easier. Go and give it a try, go and look on some of those sites and see what other AI tools are being built and see how people are marketing and selling them, and try and exploit it yourself as well, because granted somebody will if you don't.
Yeah, there is this danger that everything will belong to the 3-4 big tech companies, and perhaps they're going to buy each other. There's going to be a single massive company, and there are, thankfully, and there should be initiatives worldwide to try and get that under some control. And for example, the EU is trying to pass, or is discussing, I think it won't be passed until next year probably, the AI Act, the EU AI Act, that apparently is going to ban, is going to allow large open source large language models, but they're not going to allow them if they're used in what they call them high risk use cases. And in general, they want to ban any use of AI in general and large language models for high-risk cases. And they define those as use cases that are against the European values, meaning democracy, privacy, safety, inclusion, diversity. So, and what's the other thing they're banning? They're banning biometrics in public spaces that can tell live whether, I don't know, it's a white, black or brown person passing or whatever. So yeah, initiatives like this are important, particularly taken by like supranational government organizations, because we cannot just and I mean, I work for a company, but I still believe that you cannot let companies to just self-regulate and say, oh, we'll do our best, we believe in responsible AI. What was the question? Whether it's, yeah. And so basically, yes, it's true that, yes, that's the other thing I wanted to mention, that obviously, OpenAI, I guess now it belongs to Microsoft. So these people who are already, these companies that are already big, they're getting even in more areas of our lives. What was the other thing I want to say? That it's almost like the network effect now, that right now everybody hates Facebook, but no one can go away because all their contacts are there, and if they go, they're going to lose these contacts. And it's somehow, it's kind of like this now with, even with large language models. If you don't do anything with them, people will think you're falling behind. Or even if you don't want to do anything with them, your client will ask about it, so you need to know how to leverage them. And but at the same time, we need to make everything, both as individuals and the companies and governments that we belong to, try to become more independent from, 3 companies.
To go back to the question, so should we be worried about billionaires making more and more money? Yes. Should we be any more worried than we have in the past when technological advances have found a way to profit a large business? Probably not. Should that lead us to away from should we not take a chance to really drive forward the opportunities and benefits that this technology could drive across our businesses? Absolutely not. Unfortunately, we live in a world of capitalism, and there's always going to be someone profiting at the other end of it. So rather than focusing on the question of who's making money, can we focus on how can I benefit from this tool?
Don't have too much to add. I think a summary of everything, especially what Liam mentioned. So I know I've read a bunch of stuff about people coming up with business ideas, coming up with startup ideas, self-publishing over the weekend by writing books on ChatGPT, which is somehow not okay. I don't know. I think there's a lot of questions around authenticity of content and stuff like that. And we've already talked about the legal issues. Who owns the code? Who owns the content that's written? I think there's always a danger of rich people becoming richer. I think with tools like this, though, there's a chance for the little guy to get a leg up. So yeah, as Tolly said, it's not, and Joel, it's not something we should care about more or less. It's something that we should always strive to close that gap of inequality. Okay.
Sorry to take it again, because I think we should worry more about the billionaires getting richer, because it's not about them getting richer, it's about what they're affecting. And because we're talking about natural language interface, which reaches more people than a researcher or machine learning researcher or a software, even a software developer, it's more important that we know what is at stake. And that's why I mentioned the government initiatives. I wasn't going off track.
On that one. So we're all familiar with tracking cookies, browser cookies, items that exist, single pixels that have been hidden in your browser to show what you're looking at, how long you're spending on it. Biometric data, I'd argue, stuff that's personal to you. Imagine if that was being fed in by a company such as Microsoft, or was looking who you were looking at on LinkedIn to try and follow, and if you could use that information against you to try and market towards you in a more discreet manner. Is that something you guys want? That's what I want.
It's not just about spying on you, to see what they can sell you next, which is probably the least, like the most innocuous use case. It's about being denied, say, life insurance because they know that I don't know, you're black and you're more likely to have heart disease. And I think I made up that mistake, although I think I've read somewhere, but who knows, maybe it was fake news.